Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Grain of Salt. You know what's coming. Uh, and I know if I could see the expressions on people's faces, they'd be going, I can't believe he's saying these things. I can't believe he's talking like that. I just can't. But where? Well, you don't have to believe because no faith required. You're hearing it. Real faith is the substance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Real faith is exercised, the faith that He gives us is used for things that are not seen. Simple as that. So you don't have to believe it, but I'm just going to continue on talking about this stuff, and you know, I hope that you last through the video. But at any rate, with the last thing we talked about was where we got into Hebrews chapter 11, and we see real faith operating. We see these people, these precious people. The Hebrews chapter 11 is called the Heroes Hall of Fame, the Heroes Hall of Faith, the Faith Hall of Fame. I mean, it's got many different names from scholars, over the years have named it, and they are those people, man. They endured, because they had faith. They endured, hard things, tribulation, persecution. They endured, man. Oh man. And if those people had have used, what I kind of maybe coined, um, uh, twisted faith. Cha-ching! supposed to get a quarter every time anybody says that. But anyway, if they had to use twisted faith, they wouldn't have had to go through anything hard. They could have created their own future. They could have created their own reality just simply by using their twisted faith to get it, right? Getting a vision, having an imagination, and, so on and so forth, and how that stuff works. But they didn't. And the book, or excuse me, Hebrews chapter 11 would have been written differently, but it was written like it was written. These people did exercise faith, and boy, they experienced extreme difficulty. They horrific suffering. Murdered. Abel was murdered. If he could have changed that, he would have. And Noah, 120 years. By faith, he built an ark. And he could have saved himself so much trouble if he had just said, no, that rain cloud's going to go around. It's going to go to the east of us. And you know what I'm saying? Why did they endure what they endured? Because by faith they believed what was told them. And you say, well, that would work for me too. I mean, yes, it does work for you. Real faith does work for you. I mean, what about Abraham? He wandered around in Canaan land, right? By faith. By faith, he wandered around. He was a pilgrim, known as a pilgrim, a stranger, an alien. He lived in tents. He could have had a home if he'd just used the twisted faith. But no, he didn't consider that his home. He was looking for something else. I mean, by faith, his wife was, why did he allow his wife to be taken from him? If he would have been using this other faith, he could have stopped that. The troubles that they went through. I mean, the famine, they were childless for years, and I know his wife did eventually get pregnant. He was told that. He was told his descendants were going to be slaves, but he could have taken care of that with twisted faith, but he didn't. I mean, look at Moses. They had to hide him for 3 months. Because Pharaoh was killing all the baby boys. Why didn't somebody do something about that if that other faith worked? But, you know, these people endured. I mean, you read on down through there. There were those that were tortured. By faith, they were tortured, not accepting release so that they would obtain a better resurrection. I mean, they had mockings experienced, scourgings, chains, imprisonments. I mean, it goes on. The people were stoned and sawn in two by faith. Endured temptations, put to death by the sword, by faith. They went about in sheepskins and goatskins by faith. If they'd have been having this other faith, they wouldn't have had to wear the sheepskins and the goatskins, right? I mean, they were destitute by faith. They chose something else. It's like, Moses, he chose ill treatment and suffering with his people and the people of God rather than enjoying the pleasures of sin in Pharaoh's house. He could have taken he considered the reproach of the Messiah greater riches than all the treasures of Egypt. Now, this other faith, twisted faith, they say, no, you can have the riches, these people were afflicted by faith. They were ill-treated, wandering around in deserts and mountains and caves and holes in the earth. All of this sounds just like what the early church experienced. Didn't Jesus say that we would have tribulation, trouble, persecution, trials, scourgings, martyrdom, sufferings, and all of this for his name's sake? That's why Paul said over there in Galatians, he says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that will he also reap. Well, I thought that had to do with sowing more money. Sow more money and you'll get more money, because God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sows, he gets back, right? You keep reading and you find out what he's talking about there. He says, for the one who sows to his own flesh will from the flesh reap corruption. The one who sows to the Spirit will reap from the Spirit eternal life. And he goes on to say, he said, let us not lose heart in doing good, for in due time we will reap if we do not grow weary. Reap what? Eternal life. We're talking about real faith. Sowing to the Spirit. Jesus said, my words that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life, right? Sowing to the Spirit, you'll reap eternal life. If you sow into your flesh, all that this world has to offer, you're going to reap corruption. Take all I'm saying with a grain of salt. That's all I'm asking is consider.